On October 30, 1938, the Mercury Theater broadcast a radio performance about a Martian invasion called War of the Worlds. The fictional drama, directed and narrated by Orson Welles, was presented as news bulletins.
We interrupt our program of dance music to bring you a special bulletin from the Intercontinental Radio News.
The announcer did provide occasional disclaimers, informing the audience that it was a dramatic performance. And the story itself was far-fetched.
The eyes, it might be a face, might be almost... Good heavens, something wriggling out of the shadow like a gray snake. Now it's another one, and another one, and another one. They look like tentacles to me.
Nevertheless, because it was packaged as news, many people tuning in believed it.
The flame springing from the mirror, and it leaps right at the advancing men. It strikes them head on. Lord, they're turning into flames. Now the whole field's caught up by the woods of fire.
There was panic. Interestingly, many people formed false memories. Some claimed to have seen things, felt things, or smelled things that weren't really there at all. A very important lesson was learned that day, back in 1938. Mass media wield the power of mind control. When sufficiently traumatized, masses of people will believe the impossible. Human emotional hot buttons are well known to all story writers. To accomplish genuine mind control, what remains is to take a fantastic fictional story and present it as present tense fact. That is, news. And while the mind control powers of radio news are strong, television news is awesome. The writers of 9/11 borrowed heavily from the War of the Worlds script and threw in a few new surprises.
At 8:50 p.m., a huge flaming object,
of sparks and fire.
Lord, they're turning into flames.
It's almost like a mushroom cloud explosion. This huge.
reports observing a total of 3 explosions on the planet
There
Mars.
has just been a huge explosion. We can.
Now the smoke's spreading faster. It's reached Times Square. People are trying to run away from it, but it's no use.
And we set up headquarters at 75 Barclay Street.
Where he has established an emergency observation post.
And we were operating out of there when we were told that the World Trade Center was going to collapse.
Everything wiped out.
Absolute disintegration of one of those twin trade center towers.
Do you believe it's hundreds or thousands?
At least 40 people, including 6 state troopers, lie dead.
The plane is 50 miles out.
800 yards.
The plane is 30 miles out.
600.
The plane is 10 miles out.
400.
Do the orders still stand?
Only one thing left. Jump on the plane and all. Smoke comes out. Black smoke drifting over the city. Looks almost like a real war.
This is an act of war.
They were acts of war.
Then what? I turned my head out the window and would have sworn I was dreaming.
It seemed like it wasn't even real.
It's my guess that in some way they are able to generate an intense heat in the chamber of practically absolute non-conductivity.
It was the heat that began to melt the steel.
Citizens of the nation, I shall not try to conceal the gravity of the situation that confronts the country.
The American people need to know we're facing a different enemy than we have ever faced.
And we may place our fate in the military forces.
The United States of America will use all our resources to conquer this enemy.
That we may confront this destructive adversary with a nation united,
America's united.
courageous, and consecrated to the preservation of
Our way of life. This will be a monumental struggle of good versus evil. But good will prevail.
I thank you.
The 9/11 news reporters certainly seemed to be reading from a script. No sooner did we see a plane go into a tower Then Fox 5 anchor Jim Ryan told us it was obviously suicidal hijackers.
Obviously, suicide, terrorist attack on the World Trade Center. What we have been fearing.
Chopper 5, anybody on?
23 minutes later, they had already solved the case.
All the concerns about terrorism, of course, the name Osama bin Laden was greatly mentioned.
Listen as the male anchor from Fox 5 Washington struggles to find the words to describe what he sees, while the female anchor fears he might have missed the talking point.
The tower's collapsed.
Yeah.
The tower
collapsed. And it looks like we're seeing...
the tower collapsed.
Yeah.
They could not risk allowing the people to form their own opinions about what they were seeing. It was imperative to immediately implant the word collapse into your mind.
One of those towers, 110 stories, has apparently collapsed.
The towers collapsed within minutes of one another.
The second tower just collapsing into a pile of rubble.
They were so eager to propagate the collapse meme, they jumped the gun in the case of Building 7, also known as the Salomon Brothers Building, and accidentally read the script 20 minutes before it actually happened.
On the latest building collapse in New York, you might have heard a few moments ago, I was talking about the Salomon Brothers building collapsing, and indeed it has. Apparently that's only a few hundred yards away from where the World Trade Center towers were. And it seems that this was not a result of a new attack. It was because the building had been weakened during this morning's attacks.
They already told you it collapsed and gave you the official reason why it collapsed.
As you can see behind me,
we can see behind Jane, and we see that Building 7 is still standing. Of course, Building 7 does drop straight down into its own footprint in free-fall time, just like a standard controlled demolition. But this happens 20 minutes later. This is no less suspicious than if they had announced the Kennedy assassination 20 minutes before it happened.
Bulletin. This is from the United Press from Dallas. President Kennedy and Governor John Connally have been cut down by assassins' bullets in downtown Dallas.
The phrase, on purpose, was clearly in the memo.
If it was a plane, was it in any sense deliberate? We don't know yet whether this was an accident, some sort of planned incident.
It did seem to you that it was done on purpose? It appeared to bank sharply and smash directly, perhaps purposefully, into, oh my goodness.
Oh God.
There's another one.
Oh, there's another one.
Oh my goodness, there's another one.
This seems to be on purpose.
That was definitely looked like it was on purpose.
This does not look like an accident of any kind at this point. Another plane has hit Tower 2, the Twin Towers. You hate to say the words, but what comes to mind right now, terrorist attack.
Bryant Gumbel just happened to be talking to his producer's wife, Teresa Renault, at the time of the second alleged plane strike. Instead of responding to Gumbel, Ms. Renault seems to be reciting talking points, as if someone is there prompting her.
Oh my God, another plane has just hit another building. Flew right into the middle of it. Explosion. My God, it's right in the middle of the building.
This one into the East Tower.
Yes, right in the middle of the building. And right now, that was definitely looked like it was on purpose.
Since there was no real jet plane crashing, they needed to create a lot of confusion and uncertainty among the fake witnesses.
Why do you say that was definitely on purpose?
Because it just flew straight into it. It didn't look like it was, and it didn't look like a commercial jet.
It just seemed like a smaller plane. I don't think it was anything commercial.
This makes it easier to believe that the people who were there and did not see a plane simply missed it.
Yeah, after, about 10 minutes later, the second building went off. Did you see it? Yes, I saw it. It just blew up. A big explosion. People started running. It was just chaos everywhere.
No second plane. It was a bomb. Bomb in another building, not second plane. That was a bomb. Who said the second plane?
That's what we're told. The second plane.
No,
we saw it on
I
television.
saw everything.
All right. Thanks a lot. This is... The first one went off, and then 10 minutes later, this just blew up out of nowhere.
Tell me about that plane.
Well, I didn't recognize it as a plane at first. It looked to me like a charred piece of metal, and I had thought that there was an explosion from within the Trade Center.
From my perspective, I didn't know that it was an airplane that hit the building. I still thought it was a bomb, and everything I saw told me it was bombs in the building.
And there is the very interesting case of David Hanshoe. Mr. Hanshoe is a professional photographer for the New York Daily News. He took a famous photo of the South Tower right after United 175 supposedly flew right into this wall.
I was underneath it. I was looking at the tower. I had my camera in my hand. I heard the noise. I never saw the airplane. I was less than 100 yards away from the building. I was standing on West Street.
Doesn't matter what really happened, only matters what you believe.
He had this view. Each image in the flight path is separated by 1 second. David Hanshoe would have been able to see the plane for at least 6 seconds. He would have been able to hear it coming for considerably longer than that.
I had no idea what it was, and then the South Tower just exploded. It just blew up, and somebody said that was a plane.
It just blew up. A big explosion.
Bomb in another building, not second plane.
I had thought that there was an explosion from within the Trade Center.
News reporters at the scene also seem to have missed the plane.
The building's exploding right now!
I did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
News anchors watching monitors were quick to correct them.
We just saw another plane coming in from the side.
You did. That was out of
Yes, and that's the second explosion. You could see the plane come in just from the right-hand side of the screen.
Hollywood scriptwriters are taught how to create an emotional reaction in the audience by having a character in the story undergo some kind of transformation. Don Daler was at the World Trade Center, and he said,
I did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
But an hour later, he says,
The second building that we witnessed the airplane enter.
Don Daler made the transformation from
I did not see a plane go in.
To
we witnessed the airplane.
The audience identifies with the trusted reporter and is led to take the same leap of faith. It's easy to see how the television audience could be fooled. And a lot of eyewitnesses could be manufactured, scripted actors, shills.
I saw this plane come out of nowhere and just scream right into the side of the Twin Tower, exploding through the other side. And then I witnessed both towers collapse, one first and then the second, mostly due to structural failure because the fire was just too intense.
But what about other people, regular people, who were there and swear they saw a plane? There weren't many of those, but there are a few. If there was no plane crashing into that tower, could eyewitnesses really be made to believe they saw something that never happened? The answer is yes. Such is the power of fake video. A study by researchers at Warwick University, published in the Journal of Applied Cognitive Psychology, found that almost 50% of people shown fake footage of an event they witnessed firsthand were prepared to believe the video version rather than what they actually saw. Don Daler is cut off, and he begins speaking again. There is time missing.
Right. Don Daler, ABC's Don Daler, who is on the scene. Don, just give me some description again of what you can see now.
What we're seeing, it appears that there is more and more fire and smoke.
What we're seeing, it appears that there is more and more fire and smoke.
How does this happen on live TV? Live television, like talk radio, is fed through a delay of, say, 10 seconds. That's so that if anything unfit for the airwaves is heard or seen, the engineer has 10 seconds to switch out of delay, going totally live, and bypassing the offending material. Don Daler was speaking when they dumped out of delay and went totally live.
I did not see a plane go in. That just exploded.
Why would they do that? It's obvious. We're supposed to believe that phone callers like Teresa Renault witnessed an airplane out of their window. If she was instead actually watching her television set, and the television feed was delayed as it normally would be, then Teresa's voice would be 10 seconds behind the video. Dumping out of delay on all networks solves this problem.
Said it appeared to bank sharply and...
This explains how the Chopper 5 mistakes were allowed to make it to the airwaves. They got us spinning our wheels and asking the wrong questions, like, was Bush warned that Al-Qaeda was planning to attack, and how specific were the warnings, instead of asking, what actually happened? Norman Mineta got us wondering whether Cheney's orders were to shoot the plane down or not shoot it down, instead of asking, what plane? What planes? They got truthers arguing about how they were somehow able to fake the passenger phone calls, instead of asking, what phone calls? And they got us all worked up, wondering why the steel was shipped off to China, instead of asking, how did the steel get vaporized? They redefined words. They got you asking the wrong questions. They traumatized you, implanted thoughts and images into your reality, and made you thirst for the very things they wanted all along.
Whatever we have to do to eradicate the country or the world of this vermin, I just hope Bush will do whatever is necessary to.
They controlled your mind.
Doesn't matter what really happened, only matters what you believe. Got some pretty magic for you, baby, nothing up my sleeve. Doesn't matter what you thought the truth was, reality is passé. Get your arms around a fairy tale and everything's okay. Okay. Dry your tears, have no fears. The whole universe is right between your ears, and every day's song is a vacation. been hurt a little. Everything's in your mind. Everyone's coming with us. Don't you